It's important to lead with this. This isn't a drama video. I'm not calling anyone out specifically by name or otherwise. I'm also asking you not to list other creators in the comments. Let's be a little more mature than that. No, I want to have an honest conversation about the state of Star Citizen, YouTube, and everything that comes from it. So let's have that discussion about the idea of capture in Star Citizen. If you know my videos, I try to take an analytical look at topics and explore them as deeply as I can. So give me a chance here, please. If you can get to the end, you might have a deeper understanding of whoever's your favorite YouTuber. And like, sub, and all that YouTube jazz. I'm not throwing rocks because this is about me too. Obviously, I mean, I make Star Citizen videos, and it goes without saying that I benefit when people care about Star Citizen. Of course, I know that. If the game disappeared tomorrow, my channel would be screwed. Short term, at least. I had an existing audience, then pivoted to Star Citizen content, and would be forced to make another pivot to something else. But this has been rattling around in my head for a while, because the Star Citizen Live disaster kind of forced it to the surface. I made a video about that stream because I thought one of the developers behaved like a complete asshole on an official broadcast. I didn't name him in my narration. I mean, there's no point. You could obviously see who I was talking about. That was unavoidable if I was going to cover it, right? A commenter pointed out how one of the streamers or YouTubers they watched had the opposite reaction to it, excusing the behavior because he has, his words, a cordial relationship with the guy. Look, I don't know who the creator is, and it's not important. It did, however, make me think about the different ways all of us are handcuffed when we talk about the game. It's not the same reason for everyone, but there's always something that holds us back from saying whatever we want, even if we don't realize it. Yes, even the ones that claim it's not true and made their career off that positioning, because there's at least 3 different types of capture. And I need to stress this, that being captured does not mean being bought. It's not what this is about. I don't think CIG is secretly handing creators envelopes full of money with talking points inside. What I'm talking about is what happens when somebody influences what you're willing to say. The first one is considered institutional capture, or in this case, access-based capture is probably a better way to describe it, really. Here's a generic example. Let's say that you spend years interacting with developers, sometimes maybe you stream with them or you meet them at events like CitizenCon. At that point, they stop being faceless usernames in the dev tracker and become people you know. It's totally realistic that people share things with each other, vent, or just talk. Maybe you know their team had a brutal month internally working on something that's not public yet, or maybe they worked on something everybody is currently shitting on. Eventually saying this developer acted like an asshole in the live stream starts feeling like insulting somebody who you're gonna see next month at another Bar Citizen, or someone who's a friend of the channel. It keeps you from addressing it, and I think that's normal. You know, we do it for our friends even when we know they're wrong. It's what being a friend's about, and I'm not criticizing them. I'm in a different position here because I don't have any direct relationship with CIG. None at all. In fact, I'm not convinced anyone at CIG knows who I am, nor do I think they owe me anything. No one of consequence, really. So you'll never hear me complain on this channel that I don't get ships from them to give away. I'm also not a Twitch streamer, so I'm not building those relationships through streams either. But that doesn't make me pure or magically unbiased. It just means this form of capture doesn't exist for me. If somebody at CIG behaves badly on camera, I can just watch the footage and say what I think happened, and I derive a lot of value from that. I'm not saying that makes somebody dishonest if they have these relationships. If you went by the comments section, either somebody's a Star Citizen hater or they're a shill. But it's not that simple, you know? I think you can believe everything that you say and still have your judgment influenced by all these factors. In fact, it's probably how it happens most of the time, and we really don't even notice it. Let's talk about the second type of capture, and I think this one applies to basically every Star Citizen creator, including me. Ideological capture. It sounds so boring, but stay with me. I'll use myself as the example here, so everything will be from my point of view. If you spend long enough closely following Star Citizen, nothing really phases you anymore. Take engineering, for example. We were told it was right around the corner for years. So when engineering would be pushed back another 6 months, I'd think, okay, I know why. Maybe it's something like server meshing was a blocker, or probably Squadron 42 needed more resources. There's always context for it, and a lot of times that context is completely legitimate if you stop and think about it. It's one of the reasons I get so fucking irritated at the lazy scam argument. I know too much about what they're building at a low level to believe that explanation makes any sense at all. and I know that engaging with that is a complete waste of my time. That's the curse, though. Knowing why and explaining why CIG failed can start sounding exactly like I'm defending the failure as if it's personal to me in some way. Like I'm shilling. It's more like autism, I think. I understand why one system breaking can cascade into 5 others. I understand why pushing back a patch is sometimes the correct decision. And because I understand all that, I can slowly lose touch with what this looks like to somebody who gave CIG money 10 years ago and just wants the fucking game that they were sold. And I wasn't always aware how that came off either. Now that I try to remember it. I followed this long enough that I can normalize almost anything if I'm not careful. I don't want to be dismissive of the guy that just bought an Aurora and then wonders why he fell through the hangar floor in a game that's raised $1 billion. I'm guilty of thinking about the technicalities of why that happened, and I don't often consider how it made the dude feel. I do need to do better there. And the third capture type is one I can't escape either. It's you. If you're watching this, you should be proud that as an audience, you guys can capture a creator faster than any developer ever could. Let me explain. As an audience, you're the great filter. In fact, if you see one of my video thumbnails in the first hour, how you interact with that will determine the video's fate. If I make a video saying CIG fucked up something and it does twice my normal views, of course I notice that. YouTube notices too, and now the metrics that they'll use to judge success for my channel shift. If I follow that up with something positive, it'll tank guaranteed. Just look at the view difference between these 2 videos I made. One posted right after the other is a social experiment that I tried. That's audience capture. We all make the videos and the audience automatically will reward some beliefs more than others. Negativity sells very well on this platform, and I hate that. Really do. Then the next time something mildly controversial happens, there's now an incentive for me to see the most inflammatory version of that story. That doesn't mean I consciously lie about it though. The last video was exactly what I think, and by posting it I expose myself to ridicule and everything else if I found out other people don't agree with me. People that are audience captured the hardest are the ones that make this their full-time job. Now your exposure and your income is directly tied to your views. You have no choice but to make videos. You need to make sure that they're reaching that audience. And once you find success with a topic, you're pretty much locked into it if you want to repeat it. Audience expects a certain take from you. If you're seen as critical of CIG, then you're captured into that bracket. Making content about positive things won't get those same views. I'm not going to post any specific creators, but just look at their videos with the titles positive versus negative. You'll see it immediately. And you also run the risk of losing the core audience if you were previously pretty positive on the game and changed or expanded your position to be a little critical. Maybe you'll find a new one, but there's no guarantee. I think overall my channel's generally pretty positive on Star Citizen. I believe in the project and I express that belief, and I still call out things I think that are important to me. It's an opinion channel, after all. I really don't follow trends either. If you notice the topics I'm making videos on are all over the place, it's just stuff that I want to explore. But I don't rage about the bugs or the development struggles because it's fake outrage. It doesn't change anything, it doesn't make me feel better, and it's completely opposite to who I am. It's easy views though. That's why I think shill is such a useless word. It's too easy. It lets everybody pretend corruption is something obvious that happens to other people, never ourselves. Somebody gets a free spaceship and suddenly they're bought. Somebody else gets invited to the Squadron 42 event, for example, and now you can't trust them anymore, right? Somebody says something positive about CIG and obviously they're compromised. I just pointed out the more powerful incentives that are almost invisible because they feel normal. Friendship feels normal. Access feels normal. Empathy feels normal. Audience feedback, normal. Wanting your YouTube business to succeed, very fucking normal, right? But there's another layer to this. Insider access itself is valuable content. If you're a creator who can contact a developer, get a quote, or maybe some inside info and ask them to appear on your live stream, that makes your channel more valuable. You can make content that no one else can and maybe break stories that CIG doesn't really want out there. And if you do it and it burns you with the company, then that's the trade-off. Everything we do has a cost. I don't know that complete independence is even possible today. I'm in the ecosystem of Star Citizen because this channel covers Star Citizen. I'm emotionally tied to it because I've followed the project for more than a decade. I'm tied to you because your attention helps me financially through my affiliate commissions. But I'm thankful that this isn't my full-time job. I know I couldn't handle the swings from month to month, to be honest. And that lets me do, like I said, whatever topics I want. It doesn't make me better than any other creator. It just means my cage has different bars. See you in the verse.